And we are live. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having a good week so far. Start of your week is going well. I will say that my week has started off pretty well. It's been a little busy with work, but on the maker side of things, it's been going pretty well. I beat my head against the wall a little bit on Canvas trying to get my Big Tree Tech UTC version 2.1 and my EBB 36 version 1.2 working. I do have them talking to one another now, so the next step is to actually mount it and install the cabling. So, hey Chewy, how are you doing today, sir? How are you? Hope your day is going well. So yeah, that's kind of how my week's gone so far, and how the weekend itself kind of went. I got streamed on Saturday, and then I teched out most of the rest of the day. And Sunday, went out and spent the day with my loving wife, and then came home that afternoon and worked a little bit on the printer that's downstairs on the Canvas on. So yeah, and I was looking, it's like, okay, install candle. It's like, wait a minute, no, on the 2.1 boards, they should already be flashed. You shouldn't have to do anything with them. Yeah, not so much on my talk through the. So I did figure out how to do it. It's don't use the version of Candle at all. Don't download it. Don't build it. Just use the one straight off Big Tree Tech's website. Flash that. That worked great. Yep, there you go. Yeah. So as far as it was concerned, I was able to get the UTC flashed with the firmware. Hey, Pete Savas, how's it going? The UTC board itself got flashed with the firmware. Here, let me grab some things real fast for demonstration. Okay, and everything's in the right box here. So this on pen signing. So I did have it. So the UTC board, um, this is what I'm referring to by the UTC. USB coming in on this side over here, and then you bring your power into this side, and you can bring your CAN bus also out here, so you have your power in and then power back out on this side, or you can bring your power in here and come out of one of your adapter ports. Now, what I've decided to do, oh, the other thing too, Chewy, is once you get this flashed and you're starting to work on flashing this, right? You'll flash this piece and you'll put cam boot on your EBB 36, right? And you'll have one jumper over here to allow you to run 5 volt through the USB. Then there's a second jumper right here. Here, let me go to the other camera. See if this will work. Okay, so we've got one jumper right here. This jumper is what allows you to power this board from 5 volt. So you put cam boot on this board. And then I just use a small pigtail. The 5 volt here is just going to provide power then. You plug your CAN high-low into your UTC board, right? And make sure you get your polarities right, otherwise it don't talk. Get your polarities right on your board. So now you've got it connected. This is powered USB from your Raspberry Pi. This is powered 5-volt from a wall board. Okay? Now you're going to flash Clipper on this board via the CAN bus. In order to do that, you need to have this jumper right here installed. This adds the 120 ohm resistor, and you also need the one right here on the UTC, because that basically provides a termination at both sides. If one or the other is off, you may get a UUID, but you will not be able to flash very well, right? Correct. So right now I'm flashed it and everything's working. Now what I need to do is actually build my CAN bus cable, and you'll notice this is the black connector with the male pins in it. So it's going to be a female connector on this side. That means I want to go into the white connector here with the male, female here. I'm going to go into the white connector, still going to be with the female pins over here, but I'm going to do that for a specific reason. The pinouts are reversed. So if you have the same connector on both sides and you're not paying attention, so if I went into both of the black connectors, I'd have a white I'd have the same style connector on each side. And if you're not paying attention, you plug them in wrong, you fry your board. So all day long, so this is one UTC board. I've got another one that's downstairs currently connected and powered up running on the Mercury, the 0G Mercury downstairs. And the printer's printing, so it's still printing great. I'm going to build an 8-foot long cable, and the data wires you have to twist, and those can be 24, 22, 24, whatever size you want. And your power cables need to be at least 20 gauge, right? So I'm going to run some 20 gauge FET wire, and I'm going to use the extra wire that came with my lineal harnesses for the data cables, and I'll just twist these. But yeah, and then I will put it all in a sleeve, because it's going to be a pretty long umbilical, because that's a huge printer. My understanding is that no. So right now, these two boards would communicate, and I am high to high and low to low. Right? So high to high, low to low, and positive and negative go to the same. And so the other thing is that I'm going to install on the machine downstairs, because I'm running an orbiter, is going to be the orbiter filament sensor, which will be another interesting thing to get this to work with CAN bus. Okay, Pete, so you've got IGUS cable to make the umbilical. You're setting up the Voron V01 with CAN bus. You've got the EBB36 connecting to the Manta 3 EZ, which has the CAN interface on board already. Correct. So in that case, so my Manta 4 and my Manta 8 boards are the 1.0 version. so they don't do CAN bus. They added the CAN bus interface in the 1.1 versions, so I can't do that. In that case, what you would do is your power to your EBB will go all the way back to your power supply. And then you're just going to run your data cables, in which case you could take, like if you had a Cat5 cable, open it up and take one set of twisted pair, add terminations to the end, boom, you're good. That would be the quickest and easiest way to do that for your data cables. And they should work fine in an umbilical. You do not want to run Cat5 cables through drag channels. They will wind up breaking on your rope. And the other thing is BugBu. So my the EBB 36 and of course the UTC has the Molex microfit connector on it. So I've got to create those ends. On the Stealth Burner board that I've got, it uses this is the XT30 plus 2. So this is the XT30. A lot of people are familiar with the XT60 connector. That's an XT30 connector plus 2. So this side plugs right into the board. The other side terminations, you see it's got the bare wire and then just a 2-pin. So what you would do there is take your power and join it in on the wire side here with your 24-volt coming in. You'd add your wire from here to those connectors and then put your data connectors on the pins just like I did here. And that would work perfectly. So yeah, that's the thing. And you can buy these cables. I have seen, I think it's, so on Fabrico's site, I think they have this cable in a 3-meter length. And then they also have a CAN cable that you can buy by the meter. It's from 3DO, who's making the hot end cameras that you can now put on your hot ends. And they're out of Denmark, I believe, because their main site is Danish kroner. So I believe they're out of Denmark. But Fabrico is going to start selling their cable, and it's so the power cables are 20 gauge, and then the twisted pair for the high and low CAN bus are 22 gauge, I believe, and it's one cable, kind of like that. So that'll make your wire a lot easier because once again, your entire tool head's going to mount or connect to this, and this is going to get mounted right behind the motor of the tool head. And then you just have the 4 wires coming out through your. So your support, Pete, are you talking about Victory Tech support? Yeah, like I said, the only problem is if you buy the 3DO cord right now, Fabrico doesn't have it in stock, so I said, hey, let me know when you have it in stock. And then it dawned on me that it's the 3DO cord, so I went to 3DO's website, and you can buy it from there, but you're going to pay for shipping. So I don't know. I'm probably going to fabricate my own cable, like I said, and then I will probably order a set as well. That way I always have a backup. And I'm going to get like, I don't know, 5 meters, which winds up being like 16 feet of cable. So I should be good for a while. Now this board, I was having issues with this board. So I don't know if I bricked it, but I did see somebody else who was having issues and thought it was bricked, but he was able to use a couple of different apps and got it back and got it flashed and working again. So I'm going to keep playing with this board to try and get it talking. But the LDO filament sensor on this side, you've got a row of pins at the bottom. That's where your BL touch will go to. Then you have a standard JST style connector. That's where your filament sensor for the orbiter will go. And then these are I2C pins up top. And then you'll have your thermistor, fan, heater for your hot end. This would be for your PT100, 1000 if you're using it, your motor. You probably do want to put a heat sink on that 2209 there, just to give it some additional love. But yeah, it'll work nice. And the nice thing is I don't need to fab any like Y splitters for my fans because the 0G uses an EVA tool head. So I've got a single 4040 up front and a 5015 in the back. So I'm good. Yeah, the IGUS cable, people have been buying that like crazy, and it's expensive. But yeah, and they've got so many options. It's like it was driving me nuts trying to figure out which one to get. Hey, Subsector, how you doing? How you doing today? Are you still recovering from your week-long birthday celebration? So what's up with the stupid stop? Okay, so the EBV 36, no, not the EBV 36. We're talking about the end stop pin. There is an end stop on here as well you can use. So once I get that all figured out, I will let you know which ones. Because yeah, that was the other thing I had to think of is wait, I've also got a X end stop on there. Oh, you did yard work too? Ah, humbug. Why would you want to do that? Um, so yeah, and one of the things I saw somebody talk about was they built their cable out and they had it plugged into the one side and then they went through and basically did continuity checks. And as soon as they said, okay, this is the this is the positive plug, and they went on the other side and figured out which was the positive plug, they immediately put that one in the UTC book. Right? And then they came back and said, okay, which one's the negative? Okay, boom, continuity check, there you go. And they did that. And so that'll help you definitely is pin out one side, continuity check the other side, especially if you're using same color pin or same color wire for everything, so that you make sure you get it pinned right. Because once again, if you pin this wrong, you will supply 24 volt to the 2209 there, and it'll go pop. So yeah, well then you need to take a little bit of rest time and recuperate there, subsector. So what am I working on? So over the weekend, I started working on getting my CAN bus boards connected. And what that'll allow me to do is get rid of the 20, getting ready to be like 24 wires that come from the tool head and go through this long umbilical back to the control board and replace it with 4 wires. So it makes it lighter on the umbilical, and it also makes it a lot less cumbersome to do all your wire routing and stuff, because there'll be 1 4 wire that comes between those 2 boards that I was showing, and it makes it a lot easier. It's the software side is a little bit of a pain in the butt, but you set it once and then you shouldn't really have to muck with it again. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and Fabrica and West 3D also have to account for they're buying it large bulk and then they're having to cut them to length. And so shipping. So yeah, I mean it's a man in the middle thing. If you can go direct to the vendor, great, but you have to know exactly which one to get. Exactly, and that's why I figure, okay, I'll get like 5 meters, which works out to be like 16 feet. So that'll give me plenty because I kind of took and kind of figured out, okay, the wiring loom and how it would route around, and I'm thinking it's going to be 7.5 to 8 feet to route it nicely and everything out of the way. Um, so yeah, that'll awesome, awesome. So in fact, let me write that part number down. And was that 4 wires all the same gauge? Oh, you started printing parts for the Core XY. Which Core XY subsector? Okay, it's a 6 wire cable, so you'll have some extra. Okay, so you've got 2 for power, and then you'll have a second. You'll have a say a dark pair in the wire in case something happens and one of them breaks. Okay. Hey, Rob Inc., how are you doing today? You're going to do a 330 by 330 by 400 printer. Okay. What printer? Meanwhile, I'm going to start opening some packages that arrived. Well, actually, I'm going to get some coffee first. In 1 second here. It's about time I was finishing off the dregs on one. The new one shows up. Apparently, she went to Sonic or somewhere and got something with French fries. Yep, take a break to hydrate. Except it's coffee, so I think isn't that a oh, whatchamacallit, a diuretic and whatever. So here, I'll grab some water while. It's a weird one that's not too common. Okay. No, I don't have a hydrate set up, but good thing I will. I'll work on fixing that and adding it. From Paul, most everything just need to get the framing stuff. Okay. Yeah, so the other thing that I've been working on, other than beating myself up with CAN bus and learning how to crimp microfit connectors without mangling them, which surprisingly wasn't that hard. And I was in a wiring spree, so you'll notice that I now have all my motors wired up. These are uh, microfit connectors up here, so that it's just the motor wire that comes around and connects in, and then the servo wire pops around and comes around, so I can disconnect everything up here. And I do have everything wired up. Now I just need to start flash the firmware to this is the Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder Easy Board. I need to flash the firmware to it and start playing with that. And you'll notice the last time I showed it that I had feet that were on it that were made to mount. So what I could do is I could mount it to like some DIN rail, or I could take like some 2020 and like run it along the side or a back, mount it on some 2020. Well, my thought is I was just going to pop these off, put in some corner angle brackets, and just mount this right to the top of the Ender 3. And this, if it's mounted right here, it'll get in the way, of course, of the filament that comes out. So my plan is to mount it on the 2020 rail underneath it, which will get it out of the way and make it easier to run. And if I really wanted to, I can mount it upside down underneath on the other side, and that'll get all the wires out of the way of the filament path. But this is getting close to where I can start getting it mounted, get the board, and I have to basically start working on the clipper configuration. And this right now is set up as 11 lanes, or 11 potential lanes at least. So that's another side project that's been going on. I figured since I was already doing wiring, I might as well just sit down and make a night of it. Yeah, the tuning of that's going to be a little bit more interesting, because it'll be like tuning an ERCFA. You just have to figure out, okay, what's the length between the load to selector, so the lane to the selector, what's the length to the filament sensor on the tool head, and then what's the length from the tool head to the nozzle. And with those, once you get those kind of dialed in, then it becomes a lot easier. So what I'm doing right now is just opening up some packages that came from Amazon today. And this is going to be the start of the stuff for the next build project. So these were just some USB-A to USB-C cables, because surprisingly enough, as I was starting to mess with the CAN stuff, I realized I don't have any of them. I've got USB-A to micro, mini, B, but I didn't have a lot of USB-A to USB-C, so I picked up a couple of these off Amazon. And then we'll start digging through some of this stuff. And see what all we got going here. So all of this is going to be stuff that's going to be for the BugBu build. And let me bring this up. Oh, you think you got most of the BugBu issues worked out? Awesome. Awesome. So I don't know that I have a brain to be in it at this level. I love to build stuff and getting it working, but all the electronics get really. Yeah, Pete. That's the nice thing is if you're doing, like a boron kit, and you get it from LDO or a complete kit. Like I know um, Greg from Greg's Maker Corner is starting to build a Cybor, Sibor, I believe is the kit name or the company name, but it appears to be a very well packaged and uh, pretty extensive kit that he got that he's doing a review on right now on his YouTube channel. Um, but if you get a full kit like that, Sibor, yeah, if you get a full kit like that, LDO or whatever, then it's a lot easier because you're down. It's being built to the, I'll say, the standard or the spec from the BOM, so you can use the config files. You can have slicer profiles you can download right off the Voron website or GitHub and stuff. So that's pretty nice. Um, and then like LDO Motors, they have some additional boards and stuff that make it more convenient, quality of life things. They've already got all that stuff built into their versions of those files as well. Okay, you're building the V01 from the FormBot kit. So I'm not sure the FormBot kit, but I think you probably got the controller and you may have just needed to add your Pi. But once again, those instructions are pretty easy, especially if you don't mind using Mainsail, because you can use the Raspberry Pi Imager and flash Clipper, Moonraker, Mainsail, the whole image in one shot. Um, and then it's just a matter of, are you using the SKR Mini E3V3 or the SKR Pico board? Grab the right config file that's already pre-configured. Boom, you should be up and running pretty easy. Because all of those, plug this one in here, this one in there, and go. So what I'm going to do is just start kind of looking through here and seeing what all we got, and we'll start checking some things off on our BOM list that I got here. Oh, I was going to bring up that, throw it up on screen real quick. It's not. OBS, browser window, and browser. Okay, so we've got the BugBu printer here. Yeah, it's definitely a learning curve, Pete. Um, okay, as far as Alan Mandic, is that the FormBot kit or the Cyborg kit? That you didn't like the hot end assembly on? Okay, you went with the low weight X gantry, Kirigama bed, and CAN bus, of course. Okay, so you got the Manta 3 EZ. Here it would make wiring, so should be. Um, exactly, exactly. So there are budget alternatives out there that you can get. And it's one of those things that you'll get what you pay for, but at the same time, most, I mean, let's face it, if you go out and you look at most of these bill of materials, they have, here's the, the DigiKey and the, whatnot high end kit. And then here's the AliExpress link. And for the things that they like, definitely recommend, like an SSR, go to DigiKey or something. Spend the extra to get a good SSR that's known to be good, because you roll the dice on getting something even off of Amazon, because a lot of the stuff that's coming off of Amazon these days, they're getting from overseas and they're stocking it, and as soon as they start running out of stock, they're waiting on the ship. That's when you notice it goes from like next day or 2 day shipping to a couple of weeks shipping, right? Yeah, a lot of kits really aren't coming with the pies these days, um, unless, and I say unless, so, like I keep seeing people do reviews of LDO motors and V minions and ret rigs, and all these other printers. And it's like, look, there's a pie in the case. Yeah, they sent you a pie because they know you're building it on stream and they want it to work on stream, and not have you have to wait to source a pie or some other alternative. But a lot of these kits are not coming with the pies. You're having to source that yourself. There's plenty of alternatives out there though. Like I'm running a Pi Zero, yeah, Pi Zero on my Rook, but there's a banana Pi, same form factor, same everything. The only difference is this is a quad core processor. This particular board right here is more along the lines of Raspberry Pi 3 as far as capabilities. And the only thing I had to do is buy the external um, antenna. This it got on the network. I couldn't update or do anything with it until I got I'll say the rubber ducky antenna for it. So okay, you have a seat. Does the Oh, it's the Manta E3 Easy, yeah. So yeah, and CM4s are stupid expensive right now as well. I mean, they're pretty crazy price wise as well, especially if you want to get like EMC um, storage and stuff like that. So out here on the printables website, we've got the BugBu printer, and I've gone ahead and I have downloaded all the files and got them all sliced. I just haven't been printing any of them yet. That's why I got to keep an eye on baby blue behind me because I'm almost out of white ASA filament. So I'm trying to see if I can get the last small piece printed off of it. What I'm going to do here is just download the BOM real fast so I can pull that up. We can kind of work off of this together. Okay, subsector, take it easy, be careful. And are you at work still, or are you already at home and just need to go run errands? Yeah, I know. We've spoken about that, Chewy. I'm sure we'll continue that conversation as well. Um, so on the BugBu, we're just going to kind of roll through the BOM a little bit and see what I've got so far. Um, 5 meters of timing belt, which is this right here. It's open belt. This will be belt that you use for running your Core XY stuff. GT20 or GT220. These are the toothless 5mm bore. We need 10 of them. Here's a pack of. Here's a pack of 5, and I already had 5, so that gives me my 10. So we're good there on that one. The GT20 tooth ones, we needed 2. I got another package of 5 of those, so we're good there. These are Wensons. I know they're probably not like the POWs or the, massive high quality ones. But hey, Royal Nomi, how are you doing this evening, dear? Letter Tower and the tool head. Okay, do they have new versions of those uploaded, Chewy, or did you redesign and make a mod for them? You're doing good, doing chores? Seems like you've been doing chores a lot, Royal Nomi. So what's up with that? So we got both our... Okay, and then we need our 5mm bore. These are the stepper timing pulleys. And I've got about 5 of those, so I'm good on those. And the GT20, these are the 8-bore pulleys. So these will be the pulleys that will be used on the 3 lead screws. And it's an interesting kind of mechanism because it's a bearing, the tooth idler. In fact, here's the 8 ones. So you'll stack these, and they're the big bore ones that'll go on your lead screws. So you'll have a bearing, one of these, a spacer, and then another bearing. That makes up kind of the lower rotational stack. And then you'll have another bearing sandwiched at the top, and that'll be to provide the constraint at the top and bottom. So yeah, these are once again the larger bores. So got those. The 8mm linear rods, they're going to come in, I believe, next week. Once again, they were ordered from Amazon, but they had a long lead time, which tells me it's coming from overseas. 10 linear bearings. So we do have a set of linear bearings that I am probably going to soak in alcohol overnight and then re-grease. So we did get some new linear bearings for this project. The last ones I had were just not looking good. So I think I may have tossed all of them. Either that or I might try once again to see if we can get our dry lens, but probably not. I'd have to probably go ahead and get some IGUS rods because they have a better tolerance with those. Oh, you're in deep clean mode, washing walls, ceilings, fixtures, floors. Yeah, I probably need to get into that as well, and then we need to also do some painting. But I think what we've got to do is just decide what colors we want, and then go contract somebody to come and paint. Because yeah, my hands aren't steady to do that anymore. Okay, you just modified them to do heat sets instead of the nut slots. Okay, gotcha. Did you pay good? Well, now careful. Um, We need 3 NEMA 17 stepper motors, and I've got 3 over there that I believe I can use. So I'm just going to go with that. Well, let me rephrase that. I've got 3 stepper motors over there that I'm going to use, and we will work from that ground and replace it if we need to. 8mm 4-start lead screws. Those are also on order. Will be coming in along with linear rods sometime next week, hopefully. Shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to start going Saturday. I should have some parts printed by then. There's a closed loop belt in a specific size that you need, and this is going to go between the Z motor, which will get mounted upside down, and the 3 lead screws. Okay. That one is on order. That one is also within the next 3 weeks is the ship time that I have on it. So we'll see. I've also seen there's a jig that I can print out, and I can do some work and try and make my own belt. We'll see. That may be a possibility. We need 9 608 bearings. I've got plenty of 608 bearings on hand. Calls for M5x12, but it says M5x10 works, and I've got plenty of those. And I think I may have also ordered some more. Yep. We ordered some more. So there's 100. Said we need 100. I ordered another 100. So I've got, there you go. Nice good package of things for that. Stuff over here on the side. These, I believe, are some more. And well, you know what? I did get the top of that package. Oh well. Yep, these are just some more slide-in M5 spring-loaded, like rolling T-nuts. So I figure I'm doing another build. I might as well get some more to replenish and make sure I stay in stock. So we've got those M5 button heads, the M5 T-slot. They were speccing out hammerheads. I have some. I hate them with a passion, so I'm not going to use those. An assorted M3 kit. I've got tons of M3 screws. I will, if I need any along the way, I will order some, but I think I'm good. M4x50 countersunk flathead screws. I need 4 of those. And I believe I have those. I'm going to double quadruple check because I do know I've got some over here that were M4s as part of another build. So double check that real fast. No, M4s up to a size 40mm person. Those shouldn't be that hard to get in. Yeah, the more M5, the better. Yeah, I always keep a lot of those. And the roll-ins I like. Like I said, I've got a few of the slide-ins here and there, but they're like the true T-slot slide-ins, not the hammerheads. The hammerheads just always cause consternation. And we needed a total of 12 300mm extrusions, and they suggested buy a 10-pack and a 10-pack and a 4-pack. I just went ahead and bought 2 10-packs. So, because why not? You always need to have extras, right? Yep. So, got 2 boxes of these, and each one is still wrapped. So I'm not going to pop them out of the box just yet until we start the build, and then I'll pop them off and wipe them down as we start doing the build. My plan is to print all the parts in ABS or ASA. So I've just been printing all the parts for the Cedarcraft for his Ender 3 switchwire build. And I think this is the last part that I can print on the V0. So I've got a handful of parts that I need to print on the Ender because they're larger size. And I'm out of white ASA, and I cannot get, I cannot find anywhere that has Filament 1 ASA and Traffic White right now, not even Filament 1. So I went ahead and ordered some Overture White ASA. I was thinking about ordering Polymaker as well, but I noticed on Filament One's site that they had Overture as well. So thinking, okay, my thing is I'm hoping to see if the white is close or not. And if it's not, then I may wind up just reprinting all of the lower pieces, because the issue is it's the skirts. So it's these pieces here, front and back, and then the extension pieces on the bottom. I've got the right and left, front and back, but I need to do the middle part, because the middle parts have the ears that connect to the left and right, and that's what makes it go over the 120. So exactly. And so what I'm hoping is that it matches. And if it doesn't, then I will reprint at least all of the skirts, because then you'd have to pick out the difference between, like, some distance maybe. I don't know. I'll see what it looks like, and maybe send some pictures over to Cedarcraft and ask his opinion. But while I'm waiting for that to come in, that means I can start printing parts over on the V0 for BugBu. So I'll at least have the parts that we can start building the frame on Saturday. So we got all of our 2020 extrusions and some extras. M345 nut and screw kit. Like I said, I've got plenty, and I'll look through and try and see if there's a specific size that I'm missing. And then I'll get some. Hey, Kit Skyfire, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for the follow. So we've just been kind of chatting, and we reviewed some of the stuff that I worked on this weekend, which was getting the CAN bus board flashed and updated, and talking with my Big Tree Tech Manta M8P board that's downstairs on my Mercury Zero G Mercury 1, which is basically, it's an Inter 5 Plus frame, so it's a large printer. So I got all of this working. The firmware is loaded. So the next step is to basically break the printer down and start installing the boards and everything. And unfortunately, I can't do that just yet because I'm printing parts for my mom on it. She needed some eggs. And so I finished off making these eggs. on this dual color filament that I had. The print didn't come out all that great. Looks like it's trying to do the seam in all kinds of weird places on this. But it is two-part, and what her plan is at her church, is think of it like the angel tree, but for Easter. So they're going to have people that will be able to put in their names and how many kids they have, and they'll put them in eggs, and then they'll put them in a basket and mix them up, and then families will be able to come and grab an egg or two, and they'll just get an age of a child, and they'll be able to go out and get them some Easter stuff, or make an Easter basket and bring it to the church and drop it off. So I've got some of these going in the bronze downstairs. I printed some others in the cubing here on the Red Dragon, the switch wire, and the seams were all janked on it, and they were very. I mean, they're very thin-walled anyhow. I think it's like 3 walls. So I just didn't like the way the prints came out, so I tossed all those, and I got to go through and reslice them again. But yeah, so we did that. We talked about the CAN bus stuff. We talked about my wiring that I've been working on, which right here I've got everything preliminary wired up to the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder board, though this is not a ERCFA full changer. This is a closed beta project that I'm working on right now. I'm just using the ERCFA board itself. This is going to get mounted to the top of the Ender 3 over here in the corner. And I'll move it sideways, and I'll be able to mount the rack up on the wall there and be able to feed straight off the rack into the printer. It gives me a lot of options. I doubt very seriously if I will have 11 or 12 lanes loaded up and printing a multicolor print that big and extensive, just because tool change takes a lot of time. It really does. So you gotta be mindful of that. But now what we're doing is we've been going through and inventorying the parts that came in today from Amazon. We've got some 3030 extrusion, and this is the black extrusion. So I got 20 of those. I only needed 14, but I figured might as well have some extra. We've got various different pulley sizes that we're going to need. I did account for the ones I already had, and a couple other things. It is going to use linear rods, so I did go ahead and pick up some new LM8 UU bearings, stuff like that. And we got some more timing belt, because you always need timing belt. Every time I do a project, I always go and get more timing belts. So I replenish the stock that I use to build the printer to have bench stock to do repairs. Hey Bionic, how are you doing today? Thanks for coming in tonight and joining the stream. And now we just been, like I said, been going through and doing our kind of opening up the mail, so to speak, and seeing what arrived for the latest build. I'm doing great, Bionic. Doing great. Like I said, it's been a fun week. Might have to get back on the computer later on and do some more work, but we'll see. Getting to be about that time of month where you got to start doing all the end of month reporting and stuff like that. But I've got various bits and parts, but I did want to go ahead and just get a full and complete kit again. So this is just the full internals kit for the PMG gear set. So you can use it for any type of extruder, dual gear extruder system. So we did get that set up. And this is going to be for a Sherpa Mini. I believe that's what I'm going to do, is the Sherpa Mini build. I have a couple of those already. and I like it a lot. Standard Ender 3 bed that's 24 volt. Yep, got a spare one in there. So we got that already. Build sheet, yep, got that. Got a couple of those. If not, I'll rob Peter to pay Paul. A 3D touch. Nope, I've got a BL touch. 24 volt power supply. Yep. Big Tree Tech E3V3. Yep, got one of those. CHC hot end. That one's going to be here in another day or two. I just bought the heater core, I believe, because I've got all the parts that I can. I may just take a E3D V6 and take the nozzle off, pop the heat break off, put the CHT on, and now I've got CHT based V6, a NEMA 14 stepper motor. I believe I have one. I just need to open it up and resolder one of the wires that broke on it. Should be easy to do. The WP DAC SH. I have never heard of that one, Kit Skyfire. I know Nero, Steve Builds, various others have done ERCFAs. I think Zombie did an ERCFA on stream. Modbot is starting his ERCFA build based on a Fabrico kit tomorrow during his daytime East Coast stream. You have yours on a Dragonfly BMO? Well, and that's the other option I have as well is once I unbork this one, I've got a Dragonfly. So, like I said, I just need to fix the clog in this, which is another thing on my to-do list between now and Saturday. Because that'll give me another option is I can just go straight Dragonfly or straight V6 or CHT, you know, who knows. And I got the straight CHT, so the small one, not the 115 watt volcano style. I could always do that one later on if I wanted to. I don't. I think this is the first on the ERCFA kit for Modbot. I'd have to double check if that was if that's going to be the beginning of the one, or maybe he did one before, and he's just doing a different kit now. I don't know. But I thought he had one. Nero put one on a switch wire. I don't know. I think it is a new one because I know he just finished his Mercury 1 build and the Hydra bed. And I believe this is going to be an ERCFA that he's going to put on that printer. "3D Unplugged." "3D Unplugged." Is that the... Okay, so that's that one that you were just referring to? Skyfire? That WP DAC SH? Yeah, that's why I'm taking notes, so I can look it up. So yeah, so I've got the MMU working. It's working pretty good. I need to replace, or not, it's not that I'm replacing. I am swapping out the little small feeder tubes with the big feeder tubes that will go all the way down to the rep rat box down here. And then I'll have 5 positions that'll come up to the buffer, and then we'll go into the MMU. And Dbot here is going to come down, and I'm going to put Blue Dragon up here next to its sibling. And this one is going to get some work done on it. Well, I think basically what I'm going to do is work into basically converting this to a Mercury top head and a Hydra bottom. So it shouldn't be that hard to do. I just may have to get some different size extrusions, and I'll probably just order those direct from Masumi in the right size so I can make it work. Encore V28K. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Hey, Poon Dog, how you doing? Doing good. We just been chatting. Sorry, guys, I'm gonna run back through this again. So I was going over some of my trials and tribulations, working on getting the CAN bus set up on the Mercury One downstairs, and just kind of going over some of the things that I had to do, which was, sorry, I flashed this UTC, and somewhere in the process, it's no longer talking right. So I need to work on reflashing this. And I had two of these, which is good. So I pulled the other one out, and it said you shouldn't have to flash it, but I was still having random communication issues with it. So I went ahead and flashed the other one with the firmware off of Big Tree Tech's site for that UTC, and it worked no problem. So flash this one, flash CAN boot on this one, then you plug it into this board and you flash it with Clipper over CAN bus, and yeah, that's good. My CAN bus is set to talk at 1 million. So some of the files are standard 250,000. Some of them default to 500,000, but they all have to be set the same. So the CAN network that you set up on your Raspberry Pi. Hey, Western Wine, how are you doing, sis? How's our horse doing? Please tell me they're getting better. The CAN bus on your Raspberry Pi and your firmware that you load up on the board, they all have to be talking at the same baud rate, bit rate, whatever you want to call it. So it's either all 250,000, all 500,000, or all 1 million. Some people have said if you're going to do input shaper, which there is input shaper on this board, that you want to go with at least 500,000, if not 1 million. So I have mine set to 1 million. Long story short, this board's now fully flashed with Clipper and was talking. So what I need to do now is actually build the 8-foot harness that'll go between the two boards for the CAN bus. So that's the next thing that I'll be doing, is trying to build that. Then we also talked about the tool changer that I've been working on, which is a closed beta project, so I haven't really said what it is. Just that the way I am building it right now, this current setup is an 11-lane tool changer. I am using a Enraged Rabbit Carrot Feeder Easy Board for this, so I can put it on whatever printer. My plan is to put it on the Ender 3 over here in the corner, and potentially start doing some ABS multicolor prints with it. Potentially, we'll see. Yeah, I saw you post that he was at the vet, so you have not heard yet. Okay, so the horse seems to be in a better mood. He's just not. Okay, so that's good. Hopefully, the meds and stuff are working and he'll be able to get through it. Yeah, and this isn't what do we say, Commander Diesel. Just Diesel. This isn't the new Mustang horse. This is one of your other horses, right? Yeah, Captain Diesel. Okay. So yeah, what we've been doing is just kind of going through the bomb here and checking off what we have and what we don't. Um, it's pretty good bomb with a lot of links. Some of the links in them are broken, so you have to do a copy paste. Or I shouldn't say are broken. There are line breaks in the file, which then makes it painful and you have to copy paste. But I do have just about everything here or on order. Um, the pancake motor, I do have a pancake stepper. One of the wires broke right at the motor, so I'm going to open it up and resolder it. If I have any issues, I'll get one on order, and I should be able to have it here by Saturday. I'm going to go through the actual build guide and look for the screws and basically try and do some screw count to see if there's anything that I would need. I don't think I need anything else. I got some more M5 100s and some more of the M5 um, roll-in nuts, spring-loaded nuts. So that's good. Um, the fans, I have, excuse me, I have plenty of fans here, so those are good, and those would be one of the last things I need anyhow for the build. So bomb wise, we're waiting on the 8mm linear rods, the 800mm lead screws. I've got some lead screws, but they're just way too long. And I can't have them sticking out up the top because then the gantry would hit them. And I don't know if there's enough room to run them long underneath. So once I get the frame up, I'll take a look at that and see. Um, but otherwise, I mean, those things are a couple of weeks out. Um, and I did just check, and I don't have the M4 by 50 countersink or countersunk flathead screws. So I will have to look into procuring some of them. I know I can get some off Amazon, but it's probably going to be like a huge pack. So I may go down and see if my local Lowe's has some that will. But this is the. Here we go. This is the printer we're going to start building. This is the BugBu. It's designed to be a budget style bamboo type printer. And so it's the same type of thing. It's using the linear rods. Of course, the BugBu, I think, uses chrome rods for the Y and then carbon fiber rods for the X. I don't see why I couldn't get carbon fiber rods if I wanted to. I just never thought about going and getting it, but the ones they spec are too long as well. Okay, but there should be enough room for those to stick down lower, though, right? Yeah, and I've got the what is it? They're chrome plated steel, the standard linear rods, and the carbon ones are high. Yeah, and carbon. So there's a lot of people, interestingly enough, that are starting to have, um, I'll say, slight drag on their um, X movement. Last Saturday, after my stream, I was sitting on JD3P's JD3DHP stream, and Liam, who's Astroprinter or Astroprint, was talking about his, and he was showing a video where it was getting some stutters as it was doing its, as it was going around and doing its probing. Now, my wonder there is, has his linear rods deformed it? Because 24/7, when he was doing his, he did a big comparison against the standard linear extrusion, the lightweight aluminum, I'll say the girder style extrusions, and the carbon fiber extrusions for like a Voron V01 or the other, like, the longer printers. And what he was noticing was the carbon would sag, but wouldn't come back to, it wouldn't snap back after the chamber cooled, right? So I'm wondering if those carbon fiber rods, because they're not solid, they're hollow. So I'm wondering if they're starting to get any sag in there if he's been printing ABS with a heated chamber. Yeah. And Astro Printers had a lot of issues with his P1P. I know 3D Musketeer um, has gotten two different ones and got a third replacement and just shipped it back. Yeah, I don't know what the rods are spec on the um, carbon fiber X1. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are starting to have issues with them. And the one thing that they don't talk about is, like, how many print hours have they put on it, and what kind of print hours, right? Because it's a lot different if you're printing PLA, and a lot of PLA, versus printing in a heated chamber with ABS all the time, ASA or PC or something else that requires a heated chamber. Because once again, they have the hardened steel high heat nozzle. So you could be doing a lot of, you know, nylon or PCCF or stuff like that. And your wear patterns are going to be different if you're printing with higher temps in a heated chamber. I expect my bearings and stuff to fail faster in a V0 than the switch wire right next to it that's open air and prints PLA and PETG. Well, yeah, and so, but the printed parts for Voron, I'm sure you're not printing one part at a time like I'm, for the most part, doing. I mean, I can do some smaller plates on the uh, V0, and the only reason I've been printing everything for Acetacraft that I can on the V0 is that sucker heats up very quickly. And the heated chamber, that heated chamber will sit at like 50 C. And I haven't done anything to, like, I've got the thin um, foam sealing tape to add to it, I have yet to add it because my temperatures stay great all the time. So, and this, it takes so long for it to heat up and heat soak just because the Ender 5, it's a larger bed. And it's a larger Mic 6 bed with a 24-volt heater on it. If I switched it over to a mains heater, it would heat up a lot faster. But I'm fine letting it heat up slower because I reduce the chance of any taco that I would have from it, and it gives the chamber more time to heat up some as well, right? Um, because I'm using a pop-up enclosure on it. But one of the things I really want to look at doing is, mounting the. I think what I'll probably do is put the feedback on it and just have it sit on top of the pop-up enclosure, and that way I can try and do some of the multicolored prints and do some initial testing that way with some ABS if I want. Who knows? We'll see. I'll figure something out. None of the forbidden HC. Not sure what you mean by forbidden HC, Chewy. Are you referring to chamber heaters? Because yeah, I'm not going to do a chamber heater. Yeah. So the 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 enclosed volume of my printer heats up based on the the heated bed and the hot end itself. I am not running an active heated chamber. Um, well, the issue is it was a Stratasys patent, and they keep getting their patent extended for whatever reason. They shouldn't. They're one of the few places that are getting it, and I have a feeling it's because they've got some. I believe they have some DoD contracts and some contracts with other firms to do specific materials that require an elevated heater chamber. And because of the nature of the work and the parts that they're making for some of these, they have been allowed to extend the length of their US patent. But like I said, is Stratasys going to come after me for making a heated chamber in my own personal printer? Probably not. Now, if I try and sell a commercial printer with one, oh yeah, that's been the big issue is Stratasys has the patent for a heated chamber. That is why all the other things are like open source at your own risk, and nobody will talk or endorse a actively heated chamber because there's a lot of issues with it. If you have a thermal runaway on that, you're going to have some major issues. You know, and there are safe ways of doing it, right? But I am not going to espouse a heated chamber other than I have a printer with an enclosure, and my enclosure is airtight enough that I can heat the volume of the said printer to an appropriate temp without having to do anything else. No, there's a patent, and it's been a patent for well over a decade. So that's the issue: is their patent is longer than any standard U.S. patent. Yeah, exactly. Um, Now I will tell you the other thing that I tend to do, and you'll see it right, or you may see it right here, is there's a part sitting down here at the bottom of, Baby Blue. So I will print the part. I will let the chamber and the bed cool down to around 50, 60 C. I'll flex and pop the part off, but I put the part back in at the bottom, get the plate back up there and going again with another part, because that will let every part in here more slowly cool down to an ambient temperature and reduce any chance of warping. Like if you take that out and just immediately pop it out and throw it in a box here and it happens to be under a draft, it could still warp and split sitting there in the box. So I always basically it's almost like it's not annealing it because it's not at the right temp to do that, but it does keep those prints at a warmer temp for a longer period and lets it, yeah, it's kind of annealing, but not because it's not the right temp to do it. But it keeps it at an elevated temp and lets it cool down a lot longer. So you get a, I've had no problems with any of my parts splitting or cracking, unless it's a thin wall part and I just ugga-dugga the heck out of it. Sorry for the sniffling, dealing with the seasonal allergy stuff. We're gonna come back over here just for giggles and I want to see. Yay! I didn't lose a camera that time. I don't know why. Every once in a while, when I do that, like the browser view or something, the side camera here that's looking at the bench will freeze. This is the C922. I'll freeze that feed for whatever reason. I don't know why. And the only way I've unplugged it and replugged it, no worky. The only way I can get it is to shut down and restart um, OBS. And if I do that, it stops the stream and then I have to restart the stream again. So I choose not to do that and then just deal with the frozen. Yeah, you really just have to go and look at the patents. And like I said, if you're doing something for you and it's your personal printer that you've customized, no problem. If you start promoting, oh, well, here's all the files if you choose to do something, that's where you still may start running into bad times if they feel the need to come after you. And people like Stratasys, they've got deep pockets. They'll go after everybody. Yeah, it's definitely that time of year, Chewy. My allergies have been going crazy, and the pollen that I see on my truck all the time because I've got it's like the metallic gray silver color Silverado, and I'll go out there and my truck will look like yellow, all the pine tree pollen on. So did Amazon bring you a stack of money? Missing money. Oh, what are you missing, Builder? A stack of money? No, Amazon just brought me a bunch of parts after taking some of my money. Um, yeah. So things have been going good. I've got, like I said, I think I have all the parts here for starting with BugBu. I just need to start printing out some of the parts so that we can start actually doing the build. And of course, some of the first parts are the bases, or the bottom legs and the top, the corner pieces, which are the bigger size part, which will take a while. So I've got to start working on some of those. got them all sliced. I just need to start going. I need to make the final decision of whether I'm going to use lime green or the other green. Give me a second. I will pull those out and I will do a poll one more time to see what everybody thinks about which color. And once again, all of the files I double checked, and they were basing this off of um, using PLA for the parts, I believe. And so what I did was when I sliced all of my parts, I did my standard of what I do for ABS and ASA is I just scale them up to 100.5%, and then that'll account for the shrinkage um, and allow me to run run the same parts. I suggest a color option that is not green. Okay. Um, so I've got, well, here, let me see. I've already done a lot of blue and the graphite, which I still have plenty of graphite, but okay. So our overall color options are dark gray, orange, lime green, or just straight green. This one is ASA. So these three are ABS, and then this one's the ASA. Shouldn't make a difference either way. It's just these are the color options that I have to work from because I've already got red and blue and purple, plenty of black. The 0G downstairs is a Xyltech ABS green, and the graphite has some accents. Yeah, I've noticed that a lot of the time the dates have been going up on Amazon, and I've noticed that I'll say it's like Wednesday. It's like your bolts, your screws, and what it is it's they're and you can go to AliExpress or you can go to Amazon, and Amazon's going over to the same vendors that AliExpress has, and is getting you know the screws and bolts and all that good stuff. So it's six one half does the other. I mean, I try and find the vendors where I can get the stuff in 2 days, and unless it's a huge markup to do it, or I'm in a time crunch, then I just go ahead and get the 2 days. But there are just some things where it's like it's going to be like the 300 millimeter linear rods and the lead screws. That's 300 millimeters. It's the only way I can find it is 2 to 3 week lead time. And if I go through Ollie, it's going to be that way as well. So I might as well just go through Amazon and order everything in one shot. Well, Prime member anyhow. Okay. did I check Xyltech? So the Xyltech ABS that I had that I used for the Mercury 1 was ABS that Royal Nomi and BC sent me because they had gotten some ABS by mistake, I believe, or they were going to try and do it. And then they realized, well, probably not a good thing with all the animals that they have. So yeah, so these are our color choices from Westery 1. We've got the dark gray, right? We've got orange, the lime green. These are our three in ABS. And then we have a standard green in ASA. Okay, so I had orange and dark gray. I'm sorry, I had green and dark gray. Now Westery says orange and gray or orange and green. So orange and the green green. So you want these two? Because that's the other thing. The BugBu, they didn't say which parts would be accent, so I'd have to try and decide which ones to accent as I print it out. Orange and green so it'll stand out. Okay. Or the orange and gray. Yeah, I might do the orange and green so it stands out. That's doable. We can do that. That would be a well like a fall festive color, huh? Both orange and green are good fall colors. Just hope it doesn't take us till fall to get done with it. That's true, Build Overbot. Nobody else would have one like it. None really are except the raw colors. All right, Joe, you on your side conversations again? Oh yeah, so Evil Diesel's been getting a lot of his linear motion parts from Xyltech lately. So he's gotten like his rails and stuff for his Ender 3 Pro. That it's I had to get on him because he's got all three. Yes, he has all three of his printers apart doing mods on. He's on like the third revision of the toolhead upgrade for the Focus. The Ender 3 was apart because he was working on the linear rails, and I keep trying to get him to understand it does not have to be perfect. You may have a crunch in a rail. It's not going to kill it. It's still going to work. And by crunch, it's not crunching. He thinks it's crunching. It's moving just fine. He's just getting OCD squirrel on it. So I had to get on him about that. Now he's got some prints that he needs to do, and he has no choice but to get it done. So he came over to the lair yesterday because he needed an in-stop lever. I gave him a couple of in-stops and a syringe of Bubblux so he can go, because what he was using, the other thing is he was using Super Lube PTFE based oil on his carriages. I was like, no, you need a grease in your carriages. So I gave him some Mobilux for the carriages. You want to put a couple of dabs of oil on the linear rail and wipe down your linear rail to get a little bit of a coating on it, so that your linear rails don't rust, but inside the bearing races for your linear carriages needs to be either super lube grease or Bubblux EP2. Parts are all major parts. The thing that hold the rods is the only real accident. So are you talking about the clamping mechanisms then for the bearings that hold the rods in, or are you talking about something else? Because like I said, all of the parts I believe we've decided we're going to do the orange and the green for this printer build, the BugBu. Means we'll have to come up with some name for it. In Western One, I still have not thought up with a good name for your printer yet, but I will. And I swear,
I didn't get that. Did you try it?
and I swear the next time I go out, I'm going to stop by, Hobby Lobby and pick up a bunch of paint markers. So, one, I can use them to do some small highlights on some prints, but also I can use that to sign your printer because you wanted me to sign the printer. So yeah, so that was the other thing I was looking at is we're clamping the bearings in well, the very bottom bearings were press fit in, but then everywhere else the bearings are being clamped. So by going with that, I mean, if I really, really wanted to, I have some black ABS carbon fiber. I'd have to print those over on the Ender. I couldn't print that on the V0 because I don't have a hardened steel nozzle on that one. And that one's got a dragonfly in it, and I do not want to deal with, removing the nozzle and then heating a new nozzle on it. I'm lazy and I don't want to do it. The Western one, Royal Nomi has been deep cleaning the house, so she's been popping in and out on us. No, it's not needed. I mean, quite honestly, I've got what do I have? One of these days, I'm going to set up a camera and just what the heck? It's messy, but let's just do this. So when I keep talking about bench stock, that's bench stock over there. And the filament closet is pretty intense. Yes, there's another rep box down there with a bunch of filament all up in here. And these are the rep racks at the bottom, I think are 4 foot long. But I do have 2 rolls of black OPA nylon. I've got some blue Polymax polycarbonate. That's some PLA carbon fiber, ABS carbon fiber, kind of PLAs, various. So now, yeah, now you know why I tell Evil Diesel, I was like, stop before you go and order anything, check with me to see if the if the filament's in stock, and then you can just come over and grab it, and then we can then backfill because he tends to wait for a minute and then go, oh man, I need this particular filament to do X, Y, Z. And I'm like, I got it. Don't pay for rush shipping. Oh, yeah, Chewy. So this is my desk, you know? So that's where I work. So I may have a printer sitting right here printing, a couple behind me printing. It's a good thing I've got a set of noise canceling headphones on for meetings. Um, but yeah, I'm very correct, Build Overbot, because you're paying for shipping. So, like if I'm doing an order with, like if I needed to get some small parts, um, or yeah, like if I just needed a set of gears rather than the whole thing, it's less than $50, which means I'm paying full shipping. So it may be wise to throw in a couple of spools, reels, whatever you want to call them, of filament, and now you've got free shipping. So I do try and do that. And then a lot of the filament that's up there, um, I think I burned through a lot of it with the Toys for Tots prints for Christmas. But Polymaker dropped a 50% off coupon during a ModBot stream for his, I think, 1,000 subscriber stream or 100,000, whatever it is. And then, like, less than a week later, they dropped 48% off on Loyal Moses' stream. So I bought a ton of filament at both of those time frames. That's where I picked up things like the polycarbonate and the CoPA, is because those are expensive, and the nylon and the CoPA are they're not full kilogram spools. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then like Polymaker. So at least here in the U.S., if you order Polymaker, whether it's on their site or through Amazon, it's getting shipped and delivered through Amazon. I believe all their stuff in the States is pretty much stocked in Amazon warehouses. The only thing that sucks is I may buy like 8 or 10 spools of filament, and it'll come in from three different shipments from because they're coming from 3 different distribution centers, and they may all show up at the same time or the same day, but literally show up on 3 different trucks from with 3 different drivers. It's so crazy. Okay, Westry, give me a kisses for me. Yeah. So the good news thing, or the good news is, like I said, for BugBu, I think I've got all the components that we can really start getting a build going, other than the linear rods. And once I can get the frame together, I can see if any of the linear rods and stuff that I have, or actually the linear rods, will be too long, and it's a full set of Prusa linear rods. So I'm not going to cut those. If I cut anything, it would be lead screws, and I really don't want to cut those either because those they're both hardened steel. I mean, you can cut them, but it's a pain in the butt. And then you got to deal with cleaning up the edges, and got a die grinder. Have to measure, mark them, get them in the vise, cut them with the die grinder, clean up the edges, and kind of a pain in the butt. Yeah, if you have it under the minimum, then you just order it on Amazon, unless they don't have it listed in Amazon. So yeah, PLA plus. Okay, so and I'm assuming the stuff that you're getting from Matter Hackers then is like the quantum and stuff like that. Because I've looked at the Matter Hackers quantum and I've seen some beautiful prints from it, and everybody talks great about it. But the cost of it, I can't do it. Really chewy. Yeah, I'll definitely have to look into that and we'll see. If it's that bad, then yeah, I'll have to figure something. But yeah, like my intent is to got the bomb, got the files, and I've already talked to um, Rolls and said, hey, did you have any problems if I build this on stream? Because that's going to be my intent is build it just like anything else. Follow directions that are available. Um, and I'm going to do my best not to mod this straight off the bat because that's what got us into some problems with like Blue Dragon was, you know, if I did a standard stealth burner, no problem. I mean, it'd been just like Red Dragon, we would have been good. All right, I still need to put the new cover on it. So this is the cover that Cedacraft made for me. And I'm going to print another one in the blue and graphite, put it on Blue Dragon, but it's got different geometry back here for the fan board mount. This this screw hole is moved a little bit further down, cut out on the side. So I had to get him the step file for that shroud so that he could do this again. So I can print one for Blue Dragon. Then I'll have Red Dragon and Blue Dragon sitting up here with their shrouds. The part that sucks is just taking the shroud off and then having to pull everything out and put it all back in. Uh, center LED is going to be the one that's a pain to get out without ripping it. Yeah. So like I said, Chewy, I got on his Discord and I've chatted with Roll 17 and um, like I said, I've been chatting with him and he said, yeah, no problem, go ahead and do it on stream because it's exposure. So okay, Royal Nomi, have a good one. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna stay on here too long just because I really can't start building anything without having parts printed yet, and so I need to print parts. In fact, what I probably should do real fast, sitting here like type in and go into the web, or I could just come over here. Um, yeah, I'm just gonna pull out the rest of the white, and then I can load one of these up and get started. So the only roll of Cool Bean that I've tried is the one that's on there right now, and it's pretty well. So this just came off the printer, and this is in the Cool Bean. This is a dual silk. I think I've got a little bit too much. Um, I got to raise the live Z up a bit, but that just came off. So the color is really nice on it. It's really good. And got a few rolls of Yusu dual silk as well. And I really like the Yusu. It was Subsector who started us on Yusu. At least started me on Yusu. And that's some pretty nice filament as well. So, yep. Yep, this comes out really well. I really like this. And so what I'm doing is I'll probably take this one, this spool, and one of the Yusus downstairs, print some eggs for my mom. Because like I said, the issue with the print on here, on the Red Dragon, I think, was just the slicing of the file. So I need to go and work on that. Really. Well, and the other thing I noticed too is silks. I mean, they look really good, but they get very, very finicky with temps. You really have to have your temps and your retractions dialed in. Otherwise, you get all kinds of wonkiness. Yeah, so that's uh that's how much white I had left too. So that's what I'm saying. That one's definitely not going to get me some major component pieces. I had to order some. So what do you guys think? Do you want orange or green as the primary color for um yeah, that's drags. I'll use that to I don't know, print a new mount for the Sherpa mini or something. Which you guys think should be the highlight? Which think the orange will be the main color and the green will be the highlight? One orange, one green. Where's Western? One orange and one green. Orange main, green main. Okay, so now I have two green mains. So 50-50. Yeah, I mean, that's really what I'm going to have to do is figure out, like, what parts I even want to do as accent. Because I think one of their ones was, like, the main block was the main color, and then the other block that squished on to the, or squished around the linear rods and the bearings was the alternate color. Because like the feet and the all the corner pieces are single big prints, right? I mean, I'll definitely do like the bed slider mounts as the alternate color. Let's hear some name choices. There you go. There you go. Let's throw it out there. So, um, this is going to be the BugBu printer build. We made the decision that we're going with orange and green. So let's go ahead and start trying to figure out what we're going to name this printer. Um, as you know, I've done red dragon, blue dragon, gold dragon. I've got silver dragon downstairs. Black dragon is the ender. So we need to figure out what we want to call this. I mean, we can call it like forest dragon for that matter, or do something like that. Since we're going to be doing orange and green, um, fall colors with ball dragon. I mean, I don't know. Let's see what kind of names we can come up with while we do this build. Name it Sue. Oh man, just what I need. Okay, babe, I'll be back. I need to go talk to Sue. Sue who? All right, Chewy. Well, I had two people that suggested green as the main color. Guess what we're going to do? Sue Dragon? I know I didn't do that actually on camera and stream, but yes, let's go ahead and get this one up. Now we open it up, we'll see that green in all its glory. Green Dragon, obviously. Yeah, exactly. The bag can get reused, and yes, it can be reused as a trash bag, but my bags get tossed in the trash because I am just that much of a bit. Here. Back on it. Print. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Oh yeah, yeah. Um, I have back in the day, put your feet up on the desk, take a siesta. Quite honestly, I'll rack out straight on the floor. Of course, I've learned to rack out just about anywhere. Um, But yeah, it's weird. Like I can lay down on the floor, hardwood, concrete, what have you, and go to sleep, and I'm fine. If I fall asleep in the recliner, I will be, you're laid back, and my neck will be like this. And I've had neck surgery. I am miserable for like 2 or 3 days because of I've got a disc replaced in my neck and two vertebrae fused together. Guess I never uploaded the files, so that makes do that first. Yep, dead for the count. Definite. There's an awful lot of files. Yes, we'll go ahead and start getting some parts going. I'll inventory, or not inventory, but I'll get these out in bins and set up our Gridfinity bin for the build like we did in the last streams. And yeah, just work on trying to get the MMU mounted over there, or I think, like I said, I'll put the feet back on it because I need to do some other prints over there. I'll try some stuff out with that and work on wiring. And I'm not going to sit here and work on a wire. Oh, that is boring. But yeah, I think that's where we're at. I'm not going to stay on here too long tonight. I think it's about
Here's the
time.
plot synopsis.
I think it's about time to start looking at where we're going to raid into this evening. Does anybody have any ideas? Or who's actually on right now? Yeah, exactly. Well, so exactly what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the loom and physically install it on this side of the board, and then I'm going to do a continuity test against the other end to make sure I got the wire pair. So I'll go one wire at a time and be like, okay, this is um, the high CAN bus wire. Okay, put that one in. This low CAN bus, that one in. And I'm going to have the other UTC board right here so I can make sure that I'm lining it up side to side. Gamers is about it, Chewy. Uh-oh. See what we got. Lousy, we went into before. Silverback Creation. Must print. Apex. So there, I do want to say there is a guy by the name of Sid Heresy. Have you guys heard of him or seen him before? He does a lot of electronics projects. I believe working with like synthesizers and soundboards and stuff. And yeah, so Silverback Creations is playing a game and has a print going in the corner. Sid Heresy is stories of pinball repair, new tools, and some circuit designs. And he does some pretty cool stuff. He's done some soldering and reflow, some surface mount components, which is pretty neat. Other than that, not a lot on at the moment. Like you said, a lot. The people that I have listed are a lot of gamers. Okay, so how about this? Let's it's not Old Man Felonious. I don't think so. I'm not sure of that reference, Chewy. Um, I don't know. We can also, let's see, is Chris Perillo's on? He's actually talking at the moment. That's good. I know he started streaming 24/7. So, yeah, username Old Man Felonious. I don't believe so. He goes by Sid, SYD, Heresy, HERESY. So let's go on ahead over and we'll actually go to Chris Perillo and chat with him some. There's a couple of cool prints there. One of them that's like at a crazy angle printing it. Pocket of being printed. You're interested in news? Okay, so you want to go to something new. So you guys want to try Sid Heresy then? Or if you've got a if you've got a different name, just okay. We'll go ahead and give Sid Heresy a shot. Bring this over here so I can type on it. For whatever reason over here it's not getting it, so I think my batteries are starting to get low. So I'll get the raid started. Alrighty, and with that, we're ready to go. Thanks a lot, guys, for hanging out with me tonight. I know we don't have a build or anything major going on, but I think we chatted about a lot of good things that we've got going on in the background that we're going to see more of soon. And we've got our next build. I think we've got, like I said, everything here started that we can get going on a build. So we will get that. Thanks a lot, Chewy. Thanks, Pete. Thanks for coming out. 19 Watcher 99, Westery 1, Subsector, Royal Nomi, the whole gang, Rob Inc. Thanks for all being out here and chilling out with me this evening. And I just got the raid started, so Yeah. Have a good one. We'll see you later. And I'm sure I'll see some of you. Hey, Bionic. Thanks a lot. Have a good night. And we will see you all around. Bye now.